We are still in the first days of the new year, and many of us have made New Year's resolutions. Not just about losing weight or exercising more, watching less television, but maybe we also resolved to be more patient around the house, spend more time with the kids, give some time to a worthy cause. So how many of these good intentions have we kept? How many of those resolutions are already gone? In the pressure of our busy days, having too much to do with too little time to do it, we may have found ourselves back in our own patterns of behavior. We made those resolutions with the best of intentions, hoping to start all over again, wanting to get out of our ruts. But the efforts didn't produce the fruits that we had hoped for, and so we shrug our shoulders and say, same old, same old. And there are other factors that tempt us to discouragement. One year slips into the next. It is marked by no bigger change than replacing the old calendar with a new one. Everything feels the way it did in December, or in September, or in April, or in January of last year, or the year before that. We are who we are, we reason. We still have the same issues at home or at work, at school, and among our friends. And the world hasn't changed much either, has it? Old struggles against poverty and disease and civil unrest, border wars, vast injustices, they're still there. It does feel like the same old, doesn't it? I wonder if the ancient Israelites, who we just heard about, just back from their exile in Babylon, I wonder if they didn't have the same feelings of discouragement and boredom. Perhaps they looked at the former glorious Jerusalem, now in ruins, their cherished temple, now a pile of stones. Wonder if they had the same feelings that we have, wondering where they could ever get the energy to start all over again. And if they did make attempts to put their lives back together, would they persevere till the end? Or would the effort prove to be just too much for them? As we look at what we have to address in our lives and world, it is tempting to throw up our hands and say, what's the use? What difference can I make? The next year will eventually roll around and I'm going to be pretty much the way I am right now. And so will the rest of the world. But the prophet Isaiah had a clearer vision for those returning exiles. And for those of us who feel like exiles from our better selves, Isaiah sees restoration. And that restoration comes from God. Sure, the people are going to have plenty of work to do, but they can be assured that God has seen their need and is doing something to bring their hopes to fruition. The new Israel would be called by a new name. That's what we were told this morning. A sign of a new relationship with God. God will be wedded to the people. They have survived the Babylonian exile, but they're in terrible shape. They had been called forsaken. Their land was named destitute, desolate. But God is going to give them a new name. My delight, he says. And their land he renames espoused. the people couldn't help but hear the hope and promise for the future. Because when God changes a name, God the builder is about to do a complete renovation. The people will be united to their God as bridegroom and bride are united. So you can see, can't you, why today's Isaiah reading was picked to complement today's gospel reading. It's about God initiating a new life for a desolate people, forming a permanent, loving relationship with them. The Isaiah promise is fulfilled by Jesus, who attends this little village wedding and gives them reason to celebrate with overflowing of wine. The ones who were called forsaken are now remembered. The builder is marrying the people, and the ties that bind us to God cannot be broken. If any one of us has gone off to do their own thing and feels it's now time to return to God, well, the welcome mat is out. The door is wide open. Wine glasses of celebration are poured to the brim. The wine was a sign to the long-suffering and waiting people that a new messianic age was beginning. That ritual washing for purification, represented by those water jars, they are no longer necessary. Because Jesus, the new wine and sign of God's love, has arrived. And when we take him in at this Eucharist, we are made clean from the inside out. God is our bridegroom. He has changed our names. We are now called disciples. St. Paul has given us a list of how we are to manifest ourselves as God's disciples. Our builder has renovated us. We are in the new year. Let's do this thing.